The women who make men fall deeply in love and stay fascinated for a long time are usually not the ones who give away everything from the start. They are not always the first to text. They are not available every single moment. They do not constantly change their own plans just to prove how much they care. Instead, they protect one powerful boundary that completely changes the way a man sees them. That single boundary can shift you from being someone he enjoys spending time with into someone he truly values and never wants to lose. For years, many people have been told that love is built by sacrifice alone, that you should keep giving, keep proving yourself, and keep showing endless devotion until someone finally chooses you. But what if that advice has actually been pushing love further away? What if the very thing you thought would bring someone closer has been making them stop appreciating your presence? And what if the real secret has much less to do with what you give and much more to do with what you choose to protect? This is not about pretending. It is not about playing mind games or trying to manipulate anyone. It is about understanding a simple piece of human psychology that can completely change the way attraction grows. In this video, you are going to discover the boundary that naturally attractive women often keep without even realizing why it works so well. It is the boundary that encourages a man to invest instead of becoming comfortable. It is the difference between someone who likes having you around and someone who cannot stop thinking about you when you are gone. Stay with me until the end, because I will explain exactly why this works, how to use it without pushing a good man away, and why this one change can make you stand out in the eyes of confident, emotionally healthy men. So grab your favorite drink, put away every distraction, and stay focused. What you are about to hear may challenge everything you believed about love, yet once you understand it, your entire view of relationships may never be the same. Here is something that surprises many people. The way most of us believe men fall in love is often the complete opposite of what actually happens. Many women think love grows simply through constant closeness. They believe spending every free moment together, sharing every thought, and always being available will naturally make feelings stronger. It sounds logical, it even sounds romantic, but real attraction is often much more complicated. Comfort alone does not always create deep emotional attachment. In many cases, lasting attraction grows when there is space, curiosity, and emotional movement. A man's mind often responds differently than people expect. Instead of becoming more invested when everything is instantly available, he often becomes more invested when he feels inspired to earn a meaningful place in someone's life. There is something deeply satisfying about working towards something that feels valuable. It is not because men enjoy difficulty for its own sake. It is because effort creates emotional investment. The more someone willingly invests their attention, energy, and emotions into a relationship, the more meaningful that relationship often becomes in their own mind. Have you ever noticed how some people seem impossible to forget? They are not necessarily louder, prettier, or more dramatic than everyone else. They simply have healthy standards. They have their own goals, friendships, routines, and passions. Their life already feels full before anyone arrives. Instead of chasing validation, they invite others to become part of something meaningful. That difference changes everything. Keep watching because the next part explains why this pattern appears again and again in successful relationships, and understanding it may completely change the way you see attraction from this day forward. As he continues putting in effort, something important begins happening inside his own mind. He slowly starts convincing himself that you must be worth all this energy. Otherwise, why would he keep trying? This is where attraction becomes much deeper than simple chemistry. It is not only about the excitement of pursuing someone, it is about the emotional investment that quietly grows during that process. Every time he makes an effort to earn your attention, every time he chooses to match your standards instead of expecting you to lower them, every time he willingly shows consistency instead of convenience, he is placing another emotional investment into the relationship. Human beings naturally value what they have invested in. The more time, emotion, and effort he contributes, the more meaningful you become in his own mind. It is not because your value suddenly changed. It is because his own actions increased the importance of the connection. This explains why women who constantly chase approval often struggle to keep long-term attraction alive. It is not because they are undeserving of love, far from it. It is because they unknowingly remove the very process that allows emotional attachment to grow naturally. They become available before trust is built. They become predictable before curiosity has time to develop. They give away emotional access before someone has truly earned it. But the woman who protects her own life, keeps healthy standards, and continues building her future creates something different. She inspires effort without demanding it. She allows a man to experience the satisfaction of earning a place beside her instead of assuming that place already belongs to him. That small shift changes everything. What starts as attraction slowly becomes admiration, and admiration has the power to grow into something much stronger. Stay with me because the next idea is where most people accidentally sabotage their own relationships without ever realizing they are doing it. This is the mistake that creates endless confusion. Many women hear advice about boundaries and immediately think they need to become distant, cold, or difficult. That is never the goal. Healthy boundaries are not about acting unavailable or pretending not to care. They are about recognizing your own value and refusing to abandon it. They are about respecting yourself enough that love never requires you to stop being yourself. Here is a difficult truth that many people eventually discover. Most relationships do not end because love completely disappears. They slowly weaken because one person starts giving up too much of themselves while trying to keep the relationship alive. Very often, that person rearranges their entire world around someone else. They adjust every schedule, cancel personal plans, ignore their own needs, and quietly believe that endless sacrifice will finally earn lasting love. Yet the opposite often happens. As they slowly give away more pieces of themselves, attraction begins fading instead of growing. This is not because the other person is cruel. It is because constant self-sacrifice unintentionally communicates that personal boundaries no longer exist. When someone feels they have become your only source of happiness, your only focus, and your entire emotional world, it does not always make them feel honored. Sometimes it creates pressure they never wanted to carry. Remember who you were at the beginning. You had goals that excited you, friends who mattered, hobbies that filled your weekends. You laughed easily because your life already had meaning before anyone entered it. That confidence was part of what attracted him in the first place. Keep watching because the next part explains why protecting that version of yourself is one of the strongest things you can ever do for any relationship. Without even noticing, many people slowly stop being the person they once were. Plans are cancelled again and again. Personal dreams are pushed aside. Conversations become centered on someone else's life, while their own passions quietly disappear into the background. Bit by bit, they begin making another person the center of their entire world. Yet the strange part is this. The moment someone becomes your whole world, you often become less interesting in theirs. The independent, confident person they admired starts fading away. In her place appears someone who seems to need the relationship just to feel complete. Deep down, people can sense the difference between healthy love and emotional dependence. One creates freedom, the other creates pressure. This is why so many relationships begin with excitement, but later feel confusing when one partner slowly pulls away. Many believe they made a mistake, when in reality they simply loved without protecting themselves. They gave endlessly without keeping healthy limits. They placed someone else's happiness above their own every single time. While unlimited giving sounds beautiful, lasting attraction usually needs balance. When there are no healthy boundaries, there is very little mystery. When there is no mystery, excitement slowly fades. When excitement disappears completely, love can begin feeling comfortable but emotionally flat. There is another hidden cost as well. Every time you ignore your own values just to avoid losing someone, you quietly reduce your own self-respect. That loss shows itself in small everyday moments. You stop speaking up. You tolerate behavior that once would have bothered you. You make yourself smaller so someone else can feel bigger. People notice this, even if you never mention it. Real respect grows when someone sees that you value yourself first. Relationships that stay passionate over many years are built on mutual respect, honest communication, and healthy boundaries. They quietly say, "I care about you deeply, but I will never lose myself while loving you." That single principle changes not only how others see you, but also how you see yourself. And that inner change is often where lasting attraction truly begins. Most people completely misunderstand what boundaries really are. They imagine walls that shut people out or barriers designed to keep everyone at a distance. Healthy boundaries are nothing like that. They are quiet standards that show others how you expect to be treated. They are not punishment. They are not rejection. They simply create the conditions where love can remain healthy instead of becoming overwhelming. Strong boundaries communicate confidence without needing long explanations. They quietly say that your time matters, your energy has value, and your heart is something precious that deserves care rather than automatic access. The beautiful surprise is that this rarely pushes emotionally healthy people away. In fact, it often inspires them to come closer. Most people naturally appreciate what feels meaningful, earned, and genuine. They want to know that being chosen actually means something. When you maintain your standards and refuse to settle for less than respectful, consistent effort, you create space for someone to step forward willingly instead of simply taking your presence for granted. Think about the achievements that matter most in your own life. The opportunities you celebrate required patience. The skills you are proud of took practice. The trust people place in you was built over time, not overnight. Meaningful relationships follow a similar pattern. Consistency creates trust. Effort creates appreciation. Respect creates lasting attraction. This is why the women who leave a lasting impression continue building their own lives while also loving deeply. They care generously, but they never abandon themselves in the process. They stay kind without becoming people pleasers. They stay loving without losing their identity. And that quiet balance is what makes their presence unforgettable. They care deeply, but they never keep giving far more than they receive. They make time for the right man, but they do not make themselves endlessly available to every man who shows a little interest. Healthy boundaries create something many people overlook. They create emotional safety. A lot of women believe that saying yes to everything, always being flexible, and always putting someone else first will make a man feel secure. In reality, it often creates the opposite effect. When there are no clear limits, no healthy structure, and no shared expectations, uncertainty begins to grow. He may wonder where he truly stands. He may not understand what matters to you or how to build a relationship that feels meaningful. But when your standards are clear, confusion disappears. You quietly show him how you want to be treated without needing endless explanations. He understands what respect looks like. He understands what consistency means. Instead of constantly guessing, he can focus on building something real with you. And this is where many people miss the bigger picture. Boundaries are not only about how another person behaves, they are also about protecting your own peace. Every time you honor your standards, you strengthen your self-respect. Every time you protect your self-respect, your confidence naturally grows. And confidence has a quiet attraction that no performance can replace. It creates a healthy cycle that allows love to grow without asking you to lose yourself. Stay with me, because the next idea is the turning point. It sounds simple at first, but once you truly understand it, you may never approach relationships the same way again. This is the principle that changes everything. If you remember only one idea from this video, let it be this one. Never make someone your highest priority if they continue treating you like only one of their many options. The sentence is simple, but living by it changes the entire direction of your relationships. Many women with completely genuine intentions unknowingly reverse this balance. They place someone else at the center of their lives while quietly accepting a place near the bottom of his priorities. They rearrange their schedule every time he calls. They wait for his messages while putting their own plans on hold. They invest emotional energy into someone who has not invested the same energy back. This boundary simply asks you to match the level of effort instead of constantly exceeding it. If he reaches out once, you do not feel pressured to send 5 messages hoping for attention. If he only remembers you when his calendar is empty, you do not cancel meaningful plans just to be available. If he treats the relationship casually, you stop treating it like your entire future depends on it. This is not punishment. It is balance. It is allowing the relationship to grow at a pace where both people contribute. Keep watching because what happens next reveals more about his true intentions than almost anything else ever could. The moment you stop overgiving, something important begins to happen. The relationship naturally reaches a crossroads. There are usually only 2 directions it can take, and both give you valuable answers. A man who truly values you often begins putting in more effort. He starts reaching out with greater consistency. He plans ahead instead of waiting until the last minute. He makes room for you because he realizes your time is meaningful and cannot simply be assumed. That is the response you hope to see because it shows appreciation, not entitlement. But sometimes a different response appears. Some men become frustrated the moment they realize unlimited access is no longer guaranteed. They may accuse you of changing. They may suggest you are becoming difficult or distant simply because you are finally respecting your own boundaries. Listen carefully here because this matters. A person who becomes upset when you begin valuing yourself is often reacting to the loss of convenience, not the loss of genuine connection. Their frustration reveals that they benefited from you giving more than you received. Instead of seeing this as rejection, see it as clarity. It saves you months or even years of investing in someone who never intended to meet you halfway. The right people are not frightened by healthy standards. They respect them because they understand that lasting love always grows best where mutual effort exists. Perhaps the biggest change does not happen inside his mind at all. It happens inside yours. The moment you stop pouring all your emotional energy into someone who gives very little in return, you suddenly have that energy available for yourself again. You reconnect with friends you have missed. You return to hobbies that once made you feel alive. You begin chasing goals that had quietly been waiting in the background. Little by little, your confidence returns because your happiness no longer depends on another person's attention. People around you notice the difference before you even do. They see more joy in your face, more calm in your voice, more excitement about your future. That personal growth creates a quiet kind of attraction that cannot be faked. There is another unexpected benefit. You become more open to the world around you. Instead of spending every day waiting for one person to notice your value, you begin noticing opportunities, friendships, and meaningful connections that were always there. Others begin noticing you as well because your energy feels lighter, more confident, and more genuine. When someone realizes that your attention is valuable because it is directed with intention rather than desperation, they naturally begin appreciating it more. That is the quiet power of protecting your own standards. You become someone whose presence feels meaningful because it is given with purpose, not out of fear of being alone. And that is often the moment healthy relationships begin finding you instead of you endlessly chasing them. As you begin protecting your own time and matching the level of effort you receive, you may notice something surprising. People who barely noticed you before may suddenly become more interested. New conversations appear, fresh opportunities arrive, connections that were always around you become easier to see because your attention is no longer locked onto one person who never truly valued it. The most rewarding change is not simply that one man responds differently, it is that you begin attracting people who naturally want to make you an important part of their lives. The moment you stop accepting the role of an afterthought, you quietly become more attractive to people who are searching for a real partner, not just convenience. It is almost as if your energy changes direction. You stop sending out signals of chasing and start giving off quiet confidence instead, and people notice. But there is one important reminder you cannot ignore. This boundary only works when it becomes part of who you are. You cannot practice it for a few days and then abandon it the first time someone gives you a little attention. People who truly respect your standards need to see that those standards are genuine. They are not temporary rules or emotional tests. They are simply the way you choose to live. Stay with me because the next point explains why consistency is the real reason healthy relationships become stronger over time. Many people misunderstand boundaries and assume they are about punishment or holding back affection. They are not. Healthy boundaries are about balance. They create a relationship where both people invest emotionally instead of one person carrying the entire weight. They remind both partners that love grows best when effort flows in both directions. No one should be expected to do all the emotional work while the other simply enjoys the benefits. When two people value each other equally, something powerful begins to happen. Resentment has far less room to grow because neither person feels taken for granted. Appreciation stays alive because both know the relationship is something worth protecting. There is less competition, fewer power struggles, and more teamwork because respect exists on both sides. That is the foundation of relationships that stand the test of time. They are not built on endless sacrifice from one person while the other simply receives. They are built through daily choices where both people continue choosing each other again and again. The right man will not be intimidated by healthy standards. Instead, he will admire them because he understands that being chosen by someone who values herself is meaningful. He knows that your attention has value precisely because it is not handed out without care. Keep watching because now I want to show you the real signs that this principle is working in everyday life, and some of them may surprise you. The first sign is consistency. Instead of reaching out only when it is convenient for him, he begins communicating with greater purpose. Random late-night messages slowly become thoughtful conversations during normal hours. Last-minute invitations are replaced with real plans because he understands your time deserves respect. That simple change tells you a lot about how seriously he views the relationship. Another clear sign is increased effort. He starts paying attention to details that once slipped past him. Conversations become more meaningful, dates feel more intentional. He remembers little things you mentioned weeks ago because keeping your interest matters to him. None of this happens because you manipulated him. It happens because people naturally invest more when they value what they have. Respect also becomes much easier to recognize. Instead of assuming you will always be available, he asks about your plans first. He considers your feelings before making decisions that affect both of you. He speaks about you with appreciation instead of taking your presence for granted. These are quiet actions, but they reveal far more than grand promises ever could. And perhaps the strongest sign of all is pursuit. When you stop doing all the reaching out, stop carrying every conversation, and stop making every plan, the right person begins moving toward you. He starts initiating more often. He creates opportunities to spend time together. He willingly shares the emotional effort because he understands that meaningful relationships require participation from both people. That shift tells you everything you need to know. Before this video ends, I want you to think about something personal. Which part of this message stayed with you the longest? Which habit have you been repeating that no longer serves the kind of relationship you truly want? Maybe it is saying yes when you really mean no. Maybe it is always giving more than you receive. Or maybe it is forgetting that your own happiness deserves the same attention you have been giving everyone else. Share your thoughts in the comments because your experience could encourage someone who is quietly struggling with the same challenge. If this message gave you a new perspective, brought you clarity, or reminded you of your own value, take a moment to like this video and send it to someone who may need these words today. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because there is much more to explore about healthy relationships, lasting attraction, emotional confidence, and the habits that create genuine connection. And before you leave, remember one important truth. You are not asking for too much when you ask for respect, consistency, and mutual effort. You deserve someone who chooses you with the same intention that you choose them. The boundary we explored today is not about becoming someone different. It is about refusing to shrink yourself just to fit into someone else's limited expectations. Your story is still being written. The next chapter begins the moment you decide to value yourself as deeply as you have always valued everyone else. And when that happens, the right person will not fear your standards. They will gladly rise to meet them because they know that earning a place in your life is something truly worth working for.